All right. Hello, friends. Во имя Отца и Сына и Святаго Духа. Аминь. So, let's start trying to read. And what we see here, this is a textbook. This is азбука церковно-славянская. So, азбука. Az, the first letter of Church Slavonic alphabet. Buka, the second letter of the Church Slavonic alphabet, and we get the word azbuka. It's like alphabet. Alphabet also comes from two first letters, alpha and beta, right? So azbuka means alphabet in Church Slavonic, but by the name, the two letter names by the name of two first letters, Az and Buki, combined together, you get the word Azbuka, which is like alphabet, alpha and beta. Azbuka церковно-славянская. So this here, the first letter you see in this word, A. This is the letter. You read it A, and the name of this letter is Az, and it's actually the same as A in Latin alphabet, or Aleph in Hebrew, in Jewish alphabet. So most of the alphabets of the world start with letter A. And when we write the letter A, do you know why you write the letter A like this in every alphabet of the world? Because the first alphabets were created when people were creating alphabets. They associated the letters with the world around them. So let's say the first alphabet, the Phoenician alphabet, it was many centuries before Christianity it was created. And so the first letter A or A in the alphabet was representing a bull, like the bull animal. And it was written a little bit, I don't want to write here in this book, but let me write right here. So it was written like this, and a little bit like this. So it's like the bull. This is the stomach, the belly of the bull, and this will be the head of the bull. And it looks like a bull. Because even our Church Slavonic Az looks a little bit like this, it mimics that. And just off topic, interesting fact that the Glagolitic alphabet, the one that was even created before the Church Slavonic, but by Saint Kirill, so by that scholar who created Church Slavonic alphabet, he actually represented letter Az as a cross. So it just proves that all of our letters of the alphabet, the alphabets of the world, they actually reflect our everyday life, because the ancient Do-Christian alphabets, the letters will be the same symbols of everyday life. Let's say the animals, like letter A, or the tools that they used in farming, like axe for chopping the wood and stuff. So, and the Church Slavonic alphabet also reflects our world. And as you can see, the first letter of the alphabet, the most important letter of the alphabet, like, the head of the alphabet, was represented by a cross. This is amazing. And then as actually means I. I as I am. I. So, and it symbolized the importance of a human as an image of God, you know. So you have this cross for image of the letter, for the form of the letter as. You have the cross, and then you have the meaning of it. I am, I am, like I. M is not included in us, but I'm just writing M to just, to so that you'll get the meaning, I as I am. So that's how symbolic it was. And what I want to do with you today in this video is to practice how we read those letters. So, because as I hope at this point, all of you are already familiar and know that every letter of Church Slavonic alphabet has a name, a meaning, and then the pronunciation, how you read the letter. And the pronunciation, how you read the letter, is different from the name. So when you see the word, when you see the letters, all these letters in a word, and you read them, you don't read every name of the letter. Then it will be like Az, Buki, and so to read the Church Slavonic word, you only read the pronunciation. And so then when you learn Church Slavonic alphabet, Church Slavonic azbuka, then you have to realize that you have to distinguish between the name of the letter and the pronunciation of the letter. And you actually have to learn both. And I think for be a successful reader, the priority is the pronunciation. So in this video, we will focus on the pronunciation. And this is our azbuka, and let's start. So I'm gonna just read the pronunciation of all of these letters. So these are the letters. This will be the names of the letters. We just skip that. We don't look here, okay? We don't look here. So let's go. A, B, V, G, D, Е, Ж, З, З, І, К, Л, М, Н, О, П, Р, С, Т, У, Ф, Х, О, от, це, че, ше, ще. This has no sound. И. This has no sound. Є. Ю. Я. Я. Кс. Пс. Фіта. І. Oh, I'm sorry. І. And in some words, we read it as ve. So when you see this letter, you can read it like I or like ve. And it depends on the place in the word. And we learn that. It's not that easy. You learn the rule when it's I, when it's ve. All right. So now I want to go over it again. And I think I'm going to use a different book. You know why? So that you don't get used to one book. Because, like, you know, if you just learn from one source and then you see the same thing in a different source, and you'll be like, ah, what is that? So I'm going to use a different book, and this is also Azbuka. You can see this might be already a familiar word for you. Azbuka. You see? Same word. Azbuka. Like this. Azbuka. Azbuka. So we have the same word. And you see, this word has two letters A, which are named as the first letter of the alphabet. This is A, as, and this is as. So as, but we read A. We read A, Z, B, U, K, A. Azbuka. Okay? So the letter as is read by A, like A. So we see here again Святий Kirill, Saint Cyril, working on our azbuka. Here, look, these are the letters, the Slavonic letters. So he was working on our letters. And here we go. Let's read. This is the same alphabet, but these are only the capital letters. Initials, remember, I gave an article, a link to the article about initials. So these are initials, and if you read that article, and you should already know at this point that those initials we call, how do we call it in Czech Slavonic? Bukvica. These are bukvici. I say bukvici in the plural form. So when there is a lot of bukvica, I will say bukvici. It's like in English, we will say adding s for the plural form, right? When the word is in a plural form, we add s. So instead of adding s to the end, the word bukvica will change the ending and it will become bukvici. That means bukvica in plural. So many bukvicas. So when you see like, oh, it's a lot of bukvicas, you say bukvici. And what is a bukvica? It's the capital letter, as we say today. It's the initial, right? The initial. So, okay, let's go. A, B, V, G, D, Е, Ж, Z, Z, I, І, К, Л, М, Н, О, П, Р, С, Т, У, Ф, Х, От, Ц, Ч, Ш, Щ, no sound, И, no sound, Є, Ю, Я, О, Я, О, Я, Ксі, Кс, Пс, Ф, І, О, or В. Okay, this was one more practice, and now wanna challenge? Let's say we take 3 letters. Yeah. Let's just take 3 first letters. A, B, V. Okay? A, B, V. Easy, right? It's like ABC, but not ABC, but A, B, V. So in Greek alphabet, from Greek alphabet, we got A and V. B is not from the Greek. So we have here A, V, so like alpha and Vita, right? Those are the Greeks. But we add here B. And so then we have A, B, V. Okay, A, B, V. Let me show you those A, B, V in this book. Oops, my camera is moving. Okay, all right. So A, B, V. Okay, A, B, V. And this is Russian version. This is Russian alphabet. And in Russian alphabet, you see A, B, V. Okay? But this is Church Slavonic. A, B, V. A, B, V. And then A, B, V, you know, A, B, V. And let's go with those 3 letters. We already can make a few syllables. Like, for example, B, which is this one, B, B. And A, which is us. So this is Buki. You see the first Buki, and then you see us. Buki and us. So Buki and us will be B and A. What does it give us? Ba. And now here, look, this is Ba. Okay? The first one, Ba. Buki and A. Ba. And now let's see. This is Vedi. So as Buki Vedi. Here, as Buki Vedi. And over here, as Buki Vedi. A, B, V. And let's see here. Vedi and as. Vedi and as. What do we get? Vedi is V. As is A. Will be Va. Okay? All right. So this is just the beginning of the challenge. Because, you know, we will learn that more during the lessons. I just want a little bit challenge, and then we'll do more. We'll go deep in the lessons during the lessons. But let me give you a hint. So the reading of the letters, I mean the pronunciation, how you read the letters, not the name of the letter, but the pronunciation of the letter goes by the first letter of the name of the letter. So for example, if it's as, then as, it's A. Okay? If it's Buki, the name is Buki, then the sound of the letter is B. Okay? For Vedi, what comes for Vedi? Vedi. V. What comes for глагол? Глагол G. Добро, добро, Д. Есть, есть, Е. Живете, живете, Ж. Зело, зело, З. Земля, земля, З. Иже, иже, И. Then this is E tenth. We call it И десятиричное. И десятиричное. Десятиричное means the 10th, the number 10th. Because it doesn't have a name, this E. This E has a name, Иже. This E doesn't have a name. But since it represents number 10 in the numbers, so then it got the name E 10th, E number 10, whatever. So it's both E. Then kako, kako, kako. Люди, 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 Мыслете, мыслете, Наш. Okay, let me move. I'm sorry. Let me just move. Наш. Не. Он, О. Покой, покой. Рцы, рцы. Like R, but ре. Слово, се. Твердо, твердо. Ук. Ферд, ферд, хер, омега, о, от, ц, червь, ша, ща, щ. This is yer that doesn't have a sound. This one is yeri. So this is the only letter that the sound of it doesn't start from it, but ends. So in the word yeri, this letter I is at the end. Versus in all the other names, the letter begins the word, right? The letter begins the name, its name. The name of the letter begins with that letter. But with yeri, the letter yeri ends its name. So it's I at the end. The I at the end is the yeri. Okay? Yer doesn't have a sound, and then we go yat. But you know that's also one more tricky. Yat starts with ya. But for the Russian variant of Church Slavonic, it's actually ye at the Russian variant. But in let's say the South variants of some of the territories variants of Church Slavonic, it will stay ya. But the Russians, they adopted yeah for this. So in Russian variant Church Slavonic, we read it as yeah. Some others, let's say maybe Serbs or Bulgarian people, one of those, they definitely read it as they keep it as yat. So that's why we say yeah. So that's why it's not a big deal. The word doesn't really um, influenced a lot or changed a lot if you say like yat or yet. But Russians, we still call it yat, but in the words they read yeah. And it's more of just like, the dialectic things. It's like, you're going to have a dialect in different states of America. Let's say the, the Texas American versus New York American, like how they have little differences. Or let's say like tomato, right? Some people will say tomato, some people say tomato. Britons definitely say tomato, but Americans mostly say tomato. But also it's like depends on the priority of the person. So that's why just I wanted to mention that. So this is yat, but we read not ya, we read yeah. So this is you, ya, and this is small u's. So this is like the also you read also ya, but this is use mali, use small, little or small use. Then this is xi, and we read x. And this is psi, and we read ps. And this is fita, we read f. And this is ijitsa. So we read I, but in some words we read v for this letter. What else did I want to mention? I wanted to mention that we have some different letters that have the same sound, and we're gonna discuss that during the lessons. Because let's say we're gonna have on, which we read o, and then where is it? Here. And then omega, which is also o, right? So two o, different letters, but this is o, omega, and this is o, on. Or we're gonna have two e. This is ije, e, and this is e, the one that number 10, if you remember number 10. Also e. This is e, and this is e. Or what else? We have u, uk. We have, what else do we have right now? I don't see much, but we have quite a few letters that do. Here, zelo and земля. You see, zelo, z, земля, z. Then why? We'll discuss, but I just want you to notice right now that. What else? We have something else like fita, fe. Here, look, we have fjert, fe. You see, fjert, fe. And then we have at the end fita, fe. You see here, fita, fe and fjert, fe. So those are both, again, you read the same fe. Why? We're going to talk about that later. But now, okay, you know that, yeah, we have some letters that you read the same. Okay, so maybe that will be it for today, right? Or unless you want to practice a little bit more. This is a very old book. My kids were very young when we were studying this book, and we just made a little marks back then. but we can also use it again just for one more time, and I'm gonna let you go. So again, as, a, let me just read them all. A, b, v, g, d, e, ž, z, z, i, k, l, m, n, o, p, r, s, t, u, f, h, o, c, ч, ш, щ, no sound, no sound, е, ю, я. Oh, I'm sorry, this one I said in Russian. This one, Mali, use, that the small one. Then x, ps, fe, and then this one is e or v. Okay, e or v. So I could actually mention right now when do we read e or v if you're not going to be really overwhelmed with information. So actually, this ijitsa, the last letter that we usually say that it's e or v. So when is it e and when is it v? So v will be after a and ye. So when it's a or ye, after them you read it's as v. And in the rest, you read it as e. But also, when you read it as e, you will see a small mark on top of that letter, like kind like a stress mark or like a comma mark. It depends. So when you see a mark, then you see then e. It's going to be easy, like really easy. So when you see it with a mark, it's e. When there's no mark, then it's ve. And we know why when we read ve only after two letters, a and ya. Okay, so I think we will conclude our lesson today, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.